Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric here with Iraq Veteran 8888. Today we have some more 2A news for you, and yeah, you're hearing this right. Apparently, we're all on an FBI watch list. That's right. If you fly a Betsy Ross flag or a Gadsden or any type of random flag that's on their naughty list, guess what? They consider you potentially a domestic terrorist or something. So we're going to get into this. I am going to be reading an article here from the Epoch Times, which I felt was pretty fair and balanced, and we'll get into this a little bit. Before we get started, I would like to thank our friends from Arkin Optics. We have had great experience with their stuff over the years here. We've done a lot of testing on many of their models, a lot of torture testing as well. They're really rugged optics. They hold up great. The guys that own this company are really passionate about what they do, and they've just wanted to provide an optic, that can go the distance and that has great grids in them for a very fair price point. These guys all have military experience, many of them as snipers, so they take that real-world experience from their military service and put it right back into, how they put together these optics. Check them out, Arkin Optics, definitely a great group of people, and I think that they make a fantastic product for the money, and I highly recommend them if you're looking for something that's rugged but still at an affordable price point. So check out the link below. You can go down to Arkin, check them out. Okay, so big thanks to them for supporting today's video. A leaked FBI internal bulletin on domestic terrorism lists U.S. Capitol shooting victim Ashley Babbitt as someone considered a martyr by militia violent extremists, which they abbreviate as MVE, and the Second Amendment as how militias justify their existence because of a reference to a well-regulated militia and the right to bear arms. The Domestic Terrorism Symbols Guide was leaked to Project Veritas, great work over there by James O'Keefe, by the way, which released images of the bulletin on his website and social media on August 2nd. It includes such common images as the Gadsden flag, the Betsy Ross flag, and the Liberty Tree. And of course, they have a picture here that's a printout. I'll try to show it to you here. And, some of these flags are pretty harmless, so I don't really see what the big deal is. But anyway, let's continue. The document includes terms and symbols that are very familiar in conservative, law enforcement, and military circles. In the introduction, the FBI stressed that simply using the terms and symbols is not evidence of wrongdoing. The use or sharing of these symbols alone should not independently be considered evidence of MVE presence or affiliation, or serve as an indicator of illegal activity, as many individuals use these symbols for their original historic meaning and other nonviolent purposes, the bulletin reads. Many on the right, however, are likely to see the bulletin as further evidence of federal government acrimony for conservatives in the wake of January 6 unrest at the Capitol. Widespread use of symbols and quotes from American history, including the Revolutionary War, exists within MVE networks, the bulletin says. Historic and contemporary military themes are common for MVE symbols. The document is marked unclassified, law enforcement sensitive, and for internal use only. An MVE martyr? Babbitt's name is included on a list of 5 people that the MVEs consider to be martyrs, the document said. Others include Arizona rancher Lavoy Vinicum, shot to death by Oregon State Police in 2016, Vicky Weaver, killed by federal sniper in the 1992 siege at Ruby Ridge, and Marvin Heimeyer, a disgruntled muffler shop owner who used an armored killdozer to raise a section of Granby, Colorado in 2004. Ashley Babbitt's husband, Aaron Babbitt of San Diego, offered a one-word reaction about her name on the list when contacted by the Epoch Times. Laughable. Yeah, that's right. It is laughable. Okay. Ashley Babbitt's family has fought a never-ending battle against those who call her a rioter, an extremist, or a terrorist. Such terms have been used despite video evidence showing that she tried to stop rioters from vandalizing doors and windows leading into the speaker's lobby. Just before she climbed into a broken window and was shot, Babbitt delivered a punch to the nose of the agitator who did much of the damage. Babbitt, 35, who was a 14-year veteran of the U.S. Air Force and the National Guard, she was killed by Capitol Police Lieutenant Michael Byrd. According to the FBI bulletin, common phrases associated with militia violent extremists include when tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes duty, I will not comply. The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants and all enemies, foreign and domestic. Well, wait a minute. Let's backtrack here a little bit, okay? When you raise your hand and accept your oath of enlistment, right, you are swearing to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That's right there in the... Now, I'm not sure about the oath of office or things like that, but soldiers, that's the oath of enlistment. Right? So they're saying, what, just by simply serving in the military, that puts you on some government watch list now? Okay, provided the caveats that were provided, the caveats that were provided earlier by the FBI themselves. Oh, well, not every situation can be taken this way, only some. Well, it's just random. Let's get into this a little bit more. Threepers and Oath Keepers. Symbols of militia networks listed in the document include the Three Percenters, sometimes called Threepers, a group the FBI says is based on the myth that only 3% of Americans fought back against the British during the Revolutionary War. Also included are the Oath Keepers, a group of former military, law enforcement, and first responders who are the major target of federal prosecutors trying criminal cases against January 6 defendants. The bulletin says figures who inspired MVEs include Oklahoma City bomber Timothy McVeigh, Stephen Carrillo, convicted of a drive-by shooting at the federal courthouse in Oakland, California, and the medieval Crusaders, soldiers of the Catholic Church who fought to free holy lands from Islamic rule. This government would consider all the founding fathers domestic terrorists, and that's really all you need to know about who the real terrorists are here, one commenter wrote on Truth Social. It's funny, really, but I don't see any mention of that organized group in all black that marches with streets with communist flags and chants death to America while burning our flag. So basically, every symbol or quote used to inspire Americans to defeat the British or throw off the chains of tyranny is now considered extremist, asks a reader on Twitter. So I could go on and on in that regard, but it does have some concern here for me. I mean, it's a scary situation that we're living under right now. The last 20 years has been pretty hectic, and you've got an entire generation of people who, from the time that they've been adults, and I'm one of them, right? But from the time they've been adults, from 18 and on, all they've known is war and all the crazy things this country's been involved with. And I'm not going to get into the politics of the matter, but whether or not you supported the war or whether or not you look back on your service and think, okay, there was a reason for us to be there, or there wasn't a reason, or maybe you've opened your eyes to the situation that's before you because over the last 20 years, and especially over the last 4 or 5 years, you've seen this just crazy authoritarian state come about, the administrative state, and the FBI, the CIA, the ATF, all these alphabet agencies, they operate with a great deal of impunity, right? They have every ability that they want to, with Chevron deference being abused over these last decade or so, or however long it's been quite a while. They've had the ability to just go, well, the law is what we say it is. And there's danger in that, right? I mean, so maybe you're a person who served over the last 20 years and you're kind of looking back on this and saying, well, I don't feel like we were treated too fairly. I don't feel like, they were being honest with us. I don't feel like the reason we were over there was the reason we were, what was a legitimate reason, right? Or, where were the weapons of mass destruction? We were lied to, right? So, it's natural for people to have a bit of disdain for what they've gone through over these last 20 years. I mean, you got to think, many people have lost friends, loved ones, brothers, sons, daughters, wives, husbands, right? I mean, we've lost people in this war over this last 20 years, right? The pullout from Afghanistan was a complete debacle, right? And we lost people, and we should not have lost people in that situation. We showed weakness, and that was not good. So when we look at why these people are so disgruntled and why, like when you look at, I'm trying to paint a picture for why these veterans and military and law enforcement and first responders who are part of these alleged groups are so disgruntled. Well, yeah, there's a reason for them to be disgruntled. Look at what you've done to them over the last 2 decades. How would you expect them to think? How would you think? So I think the FBI is painting this situation with the wrong brush, right? I really do. Now, is that to say that there aren't always going to be subsets of every group that might do something a little bit crazy, and that you should probably kind of keep an eye on what's going on just so you can kind of know, what the lay of the land is? I mean, I'm not going to say that's not the truth, because what do they say? Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. I mean, that's true, right? So it's just a scary situation. When you see all the things going on, you see the overreach. The FBI has clearly made some bad takes, especially in the last 3 or 4 years. And we don't have time to get into all of them. There's so many situations where the FBI has, blatantly just lied to the people in many situations, right? Now, no matter what you feel about January 6th, it's irrelevant, right? It's just, at the end of the day, people have rights, and our state, our administrative state, our government is set up to run in a very specific way, right? We have checks and balances, right? And we're supposed to, have a constitutional republic that's ran for the people, by the people, and culpable to the people. And when you have a situation where these alphabet agencies can just run with complete impunity and have absolutely no consequences for any of their actions and for lying or for doing whatever they need to do, you kind of have to wonder, okay, where's the document like this related to Antifa or BLM or any of these other groups? I mean, if they're going to make a document like this and it's going to be so open-ended, well, they may or may not be bad, but here's what to look for. Well, if that's the case, then where are the other groups? Why do they paint it only for the right-leaning sort of people or the conservative people, or at least what they view as conservative people, which when you look at that document, there are many flags and symbols in that document that are more related to the libertarian movement than they are the conservative and right-leaning movement, if you will, or whatever you want to say in that regard. But where are the other players in the game? Where are the other pieces on the chessboard? So when they exclude those pieces from this, internal document, it kind of makes you wonder if there's some political bias at play here. And I think it's quite clear that there's political bias at play with these alphabet agencies. And I think that that's the thing that people need to be paying attention to, is the bias, the clear bias that exists in our administrative, government, the administrative state, dare I say, the deep state. I mean, that's what this all comes down to. So, this is scary. I just wanted to share it. And, by these standards, 90% of people who own guns could probably be added to this list just by simply, sharing quotes from the founding fathers. What, you're somehow painted as some radical just because you share a quote from the founding fathers, or quotes from our very founding documents, or flags from our original founding fathers, and the people that fought for this country, the people that made this country what it is today? I'm not buying it, y'all, and you shouldn't either. Have a great day. I really appreciate you guys watching today's video. Thank you so much. Don't forget, go over and check out Arkin. Really good people. Also, go over to Ballistic Ink, and you can pick yourself up a snazzy new t-shirt, of which many of our t-shirts have some awesome designs that are kind of racy. And you might find a few of the designs that might be on this list. But, that's all right. We know we're good people. We know we're patriots. We're not going to let them paint us with an evil brush. But you can pick up a t-shirt, and that helps support the channel as well. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon.